Good to have you.
Thank you.
And, you know, I know taxes is also one of the biggest concepts as well of scaling a business. People are scared that if they get to a certain level, they're going to chunk out a lot of money in terms of taxes. However, as we get this conversation started, I'd love us to just take a look at some of the pillars that he had sent a bit earlier on pillars that can turn your hustle into a scalable business, and just briefly take a look at them as we go by with these conversations. Some of these pillars he'll be touching on and expounding more on them, and I hope you take notes down. So you've got the legitimacy of a business. That is one of a pillar that you need to take note of. You also have got the structure, the strategy, the branding, the compliance, as well as the technology and the digital aspects of it. So legitimacy, structure, strategy, compliance, and growth. Those are some of the pillars that he will be talking about this morning in depth. So if you're a business person somewhere, or if you've been planning to start a business, please, for the next couple of minutes, sit down, take notes of this, because it's going to be a very important conversation. Normally, actually, you pay for this kind of conversations when you go to a business expert to be able to, you know, get more of this. You pay for it, so we're giving it to you for free. So please take note of that. So Bernard, let's get this conversation started. This is a country that highly depends on small, medium enterprises, MSMEs, because they give a huge return to the country's economy. And somebody is wondering, when you talk about scaling a business, what does that word in itself mean? What is to scale a business?
Thank you. Before I go to that, I just want to take this time and just say thank you for considering me and just calling me for the interview.
You're welcome.
I don't take it for granted.
Thank you.
There are 8.7 billion people in the world. And for you to call me out, or even in Kenya alone, we have 50 million. So I give thanks to God, and also thanks to EBN management. You guys, you are doing a good work.
Thank you.
Every time I come, I see progress.
Thank you.
I thank you.
Thank you.
So just to go to the topic of the day, basically, when we talk about scaling a business, I'll start by first just making it simple. Why the majority of people have started businesses. So basically, business is nothing. It's just a simple way of coming up with solutions and ideas to solve problems in the marketplace. And I usually like giving a very simple example. When it is raining in Nairobi and you are in CBD, you will see people coming with umbrellas from nowhere. And they sell you an umbrella that would go for just 200. You could buy at 300 or 400 because they are solving that problem. So when you talk about scaling a business, you could have already started, but you are still operating in a medium scale or in a small scale. So when you talk about scaling a business, we are talking about what can you do from your starting to make it now go in a bigger or in a larger way. Or if you are serving fewer clients, how can you scale it to serve more people? Or if you are only in one location, how can you go to other locations? Or if you are only in Kenya, how can you go to other regions like Africa and the global? So basically just growing a business from one goal or one step to another step.
Is there always an appropriate time to scale your business? You know, do you look at, there's some certain things you consider before you can decide to scale a business? Is there always a right time to take this business to the next level? Very true.
You really have to understand. Like as I'll quote a verse in the Bible. It's all about, the Bible is all about, if you read the theme of the Bible, it's all about understanding seasons and times. The same applies to business. So there's the right time for starting, there's the right time for building, and there's the right time for scaling it. And number one, you can't scale a business that you've not put like a foundation or you have not put order into it. And actually, one of the things we are going to do today, the presentation we are going to use is the summary of what needs to be done, but basically it deals with the foundational matters. There's what I call like the 7 pillars, that if you are to be able to put them into place, you will be at a position to scale a business. So understanding that, I'll just give, for example, a good, the time of COVID, most businesses died. But at the same point, there are businesses that grew. On the same point of when during the season of COVID, there are businesses that thrived and made more money. So yes, to answer your question, scaling a business cannot happen just anytime. You must understand. And then another thing nowadays, with the coming of the technology, which I'll talk about is like one of the pillars, you need to use data. to determine whether your business is ready for scaling.
Right.
Thank you.
And before you can get to those pillars, there's somebody who perhaps just, owns a very small business, kahasol tu kamtani, and is looking and wondering, is this even possible to grow it? Is it possible to scale it? Does it matter what sort of business you have, or just how big it is for you to talk about scaling, or any business is scalable?
Very true. The model we have come up with, one of my passions in life, is to help people build businesses that they own, but they don't have to be there to run. And for that to happen, it has to be something that is in line with your passion. I like what the Bible says, that the gift of a man will take you before kings or before great people. If you build, there are two principles of success. There's a time I read, there's another principle called copy and paste. If you go to town today, you will see like there's this thing of exhibition, where people buy, like if it is mobile phones, clothes. So you find many shops lined in a particular place, but dealing with the same product.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about somebody who has started small, starting small is not the problem.
Yeah.
Actually, they say dream big, start small, and start now. So the thing is about just understanding at what stage. Actually, they say if you are not growing, you are dying. So to answer your question, any small business can be scaled, but it's about understanding, like in which demographics, the industry, how are things operating in that industry, and at what, like for example, you could have started like even somebody like a tailor, for example, who is just doing the fabrics and making design clothes to a particular market. Like I know Jericho market just up here is known for the tailoring and such kind of stuff. But a time comes when you cannot only focus on the market that is there, so you start selling your products even to other people. So businesses can be scaled, but it's about understanding the principles used to scale them.
All right.
Thank you.
So let's now get down to the pillars, because I know this is a critical aspect.
Okay.
We've talked about what scaling is.
Yes.
We've said when the scaling can happen, you need to understand seasons and times of your business. We've also talked about any business is scalable, no matter how small it is or how big it is scalable. So we now want to just understand what that process looks like. And some of the things you need to jolt down as a business owner or somebody that is trying to get into business on where to begin. So first pillar on legitimacy, maybe we can talk about that, because this is such an important aspect, because as a customer, as a client, I need to trust that your business is credible. And so can we talk about that, and just how can you start by making your business quite official?
Thank you. So this is the summary which I usually use when I'm doing consulting to any person who is either starting a business or they are already in business.
Yeah, they can see it on their screens at home. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, so the number one thing about that thing that you are seeing is a summary that, and most of these things we are going to talk about, they are very simple. But I've learned in life is from the application. Like you can have knowledge, but if you don't apply it, it doesn't help. So when we talk about the number one pillar is legitimacy.
Right.
So when we talk about legitimacy, we are basically just talking about make your business official. Just make it official. So, and the things you can do to make your business official, number one is you to register the business. Just registration alone. Not even a limited company. Yeah. Just a business name. Then get the licenses. We don't want you to be running a business and you are afraid of the Nairobi County Council. I've been into places whereby they set the business, they open, but when they just see the kanjo coming, they are closing it. That can be sorted by just having the right licenses in place. Then get statutory filings. Any filing that needs to be done. So anything that is required by law or by government falls under that place. Yeah. But just to make, like now to the person you are saying, like actually our topic is how to turn a hustle into a scalable business. So be it the Mutumba, I've worked with people who are just doing small businesses, but we have been able to work with them to bring business to a certain level. And some of the things I'm sharing with you, I'm also applying them in my business. So the conversation we are having today is to make it as practical as possible. Anybody, anywhere can be able to use these principles. So just make it official. Right.
I know with the registration and statutory filings, it all boils back to, just the cost of getting these licenses.
Yes.
And that's a huge factor as well. So I know you've worked with businesses a lot. What offices do they need to go to? Somebody doesn't know, need to end up in a party license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just before I answer that, I like using data and facts. And there's a research that has been done and says that in Kenya, businesses with proper registration are 40% more likely to access growth and finance. And that can be gotten from even KRA portal and also from a medium-sized scale. It's a research you can do. So 40%, by just registering. Usually, like when you go to bank, when you want a loan, there's a question they ask you, are you bankable?
Yeah.
So these are some of the simple things that will help you to be locked so that you can be able to open opportunities. So to answer your question, most of these things can be done via e-citizen platform. Actually, that system is so powerful. What the government, let me give credit where credit is due. You know, people are talking bad about the government. But in my consulting one thing I can appreciate the current government about is the digitalization of most of the services. Long are the days when you could go to Sharia house and be disturbed for 6 months for something you could do within 3 days.
Yeah.
Most of the registration of businesses, the system is really working. Like within 3 to 5 days, you are able to get your business. Yeah. So number one is to understand how to use the e-citizen. Now the system changes almost every day, so you have to be conversant. Like today, if you are to register businesses, there are things that have changed. It's not like the way it was 2 years ago, just within the system. So there's the organization that handles businesses is called Business Registration Bureau or Registrar of Businesses. Their offices are in Upper Hill, and I think it is 2nd Ngong Avenue, 316. There's a house called 316. So that handles anything to do with business registration, or if already you have registered, you had registered a long time ago, things like filings of not the KRA part, but now the filing on the other side. Then we have the licenses, which Nairobi City, the City Hall. City Hall really handles all that. So you are able to, actually even currently, their services are online. Actually, they have got like one merged permit, which you can apply to get the permit for the business, the fire, and the other health subs.
All in one.
All in one.
Right.
Yeah.
On the legitimacy still, let's talk about our website. Because I think for Kenya, from my own observation, is that most companies, you would get them physically on the ground, yes. But in terms of websites, you know, there's a bit of challenge. The reason I'm pointing that out is, in US, for instance, I'll use that as an example. There's a possibility that somebody can go to your website and order something. Everything basically relies on our website. It's such a powerful tool there. I don't know about Kenya from your perspective and some of the things that you've been able to, or people you've been able to work with. Do people go the website way a lot?
So number one, even when we talk about legitimacy, if there's one thing you can't rule right now, is the technology and the way the world has really moved from communication, even just the mobile phone, people communicating. Now, when it comes to business nowadays, before somebody does something, or like even visiting the offices, somebody will just go online and search the name of your business. So I think it is very, very critical. If you believe in your business, I think you should not be afraid to put it online. Because like for me, for example, nowadays, before I do anything, like even I want to buy stuff, of course, we have had also the cases of people being conned and all of that. But I think they are legit businesses that you can search online and even information. So by just putting your business online, actually that is like the 5th pillar, which will talk about the digital technology and how you can make your business digital, because it makes your business not only to be in Kenya, but to go locally. So it is very, very important.
Now we can talk about structure, which is the 2nd pillar as well. In terms of how to scale your business. So what is structure and how does that work?
So basically when we talk about the structure, and this is not only in business, even in life, it's something that applies. I think most of the time we want results, but we don't want to put things into place that help us to perform better. So when I talk about structure, it's basically having systems that run even when you are not there. I said I would like to be a person who helps people build businesses that can run whether you are there or you are not. Most people are saying they are in business, but they are still self-employed, because if they shut, if you don't show up in that business, it means it will not be open. So when we talk about structure here, we want to put systems in such a way that there are standard procedures that can be followed. Like, for example, let me just give an example, like in EBN.
Yeah.
There's a program, both the staff working here, there's a particular process, like if somebody comes and they want even to talk to the manager, like they will go to the reception, request and be guided. So structure is just where you put standard procedures, clear roles, like who does what, but they are captured through a system that somebody can be able to track what is happening. So they are actually, with the technology, they are very simple tools that you can be able to control what is happening. And then also, this is what the research shows. 30% of African SMEs who have adapted structure by use of technology, like even just using like an online platform to book even for appointments, they perform better. Yeah. So just have some order and structure in your business.
Right. How small can a structure get? Because there's somebody who's perhaps just doing a startup, or is opening up a startup, and they're wondering, how small can my structure be, so that if somebody walks in, they're able to say, oh, there's a certain system in place.
One thing good with structure, it can be done from your level and using the available resources that you have. I can assure you, Cynthia, that just like when you are employing people, most of the time, there's a problem, because when people come into your business, they would like to know how things flow in the organization. So to make it just simple, you have to have a standard way that any stranger, when they come like to your business, they can feel like from point A to point B to point C, this is how things flow. And even like when you are building your website, these are things that can even be put on. And nowadays with the technology, with automation, there's a way you can put a system that directs people from step 1, 2, 3. But the major thing to say here, can we know, like in a simple way, how things flow in your business, step 1, 2, 3? And then the people you are working with, do they understand, like if a customer comes, for example, and like it's a new customer, which process do we follow? When they are, for example, a business to be closed, you have talked with the client and they are ready to pay. Is there a structure, like how do you prepare invoice? Who does the payment? Who should be able to do that? So such kind of things make sure that the business, there's a process. And even if you are to bring a new person, you just train them and they follow through the process.
So a team is critical in terms of also the structure of the organization.
Very true.
And a team that understands what the business is.
Like as the owner of the business, like as the founder usually, which we'll talk about strategy, you are supposed to develop a plan. And then that plan you share with your team so that they operate from a point of understanding. And I'll give a very good example. This is how structure looks like. You called me for this appointment, but you put a time. So I could not come here at 9, because already it would go. I had the church program. Most of the time, people think, most churches, they have got like the Sunday service program that starts, like, for example, 7:30, like now Redeemed here, at 7:30 to 10. Do you know that by just programming people in such a way, there's a structure? Imagine if everybody comes
at any
time they want to do anything. It doesn't really make sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's a great aspect. To the strategy, which talks of having a clear plan and not just a random hustle. Now, with this strategy, I think I've seen this with people that are just starting out businesses.
Yes.
Somebody says, I have 10,000 shillings. Let me just go get a kabel somewhere of Mtumba and let me start selling it. I don't know whether that's just, is that a plan? Or, it was a random hustle. What do I do? Let me just do Mtumba. What does that strategy look like? Strategizing from an individual point of view, as well as from a business point of view.
So when you talk about the strategy, I'll summarize it by just saying you need to have a roadmap. And I'll use a very simple analogy. Google Maps. Anytime you are driving or going to a place that you don't know, Google Map makes it very much easier, knowing that I'm from point A to point B. And even if you are now using like a cab, be it Bolt, Uber, and all of that, it even gives you the price. That is how simple it can be when you turn that into business. So majority of the people are just waking up and running. There's nothing bad like running. Actually, the devil likes that. If there's one thing that the devil loves, is to have chaos. Or working with people who don't know what to do. So when we talk about strategy, we just want you to be clear. Like number one, understand your market. Then when you talk about strategy, this is whereby we talk even about competition. We can have 10 businesses doing the same thing.
Right.
But it is the strategy that separates people when it comes now to the implementation. And here I'll talk about 3 major things. Now, when you talk about strategy, you need to develop 3 documents. And before I say that, like the building we are sitting in, before this building came to be built, an architecture was called. And he was able to draw the plan of this building. But with that plan, you are able to know the cost of the building, how many days it will take to build the building, and the kind of team. So in a business now, if that could be translated, you need to have a business plan. Then after a business plan, you need to have a strategic plan. Then after a strategic plan, you can now write things like proposal. So usually a business plan talks about the overall idea that you have, starting from small to big. Like even if you want to run a business, you are thinking even the 10 years. Like for example, like guys who have started, like when Nakumat, the former Nakumat started, they started in a very small town is it in Nakuru or somewhere, but the vision was to have a branch almost everywhere. Like the current Quickmart, for example. So it is good to have in the business plan all the wide dream. Everything you are dreaming about, that business can be in the business plan. But now when we come to the strategic plan is now where we narrow down. And most of the strategic plan that you usually hear, like Safaricom has got 3-year strategic plan, 10-year strategic plan, or 5-year plan. So strategic plan is now where you narrow down, where you look at the available resources. You look at the opportunities. Like you realize, what opportunity can I utilize currently with the resources I have and with the team I have to do something that can now be a milestone? So anybody, it's usually good to have a plan. If either small, how you are starting. And this will, one thing that the plan does is to make sure the execution becomes much easier. I don't want you to wake up every day and thinking, now what will we do? Or you are working with 10 people in a business, but they are every day calling you. Now what next? Strategic plan, business plan can be able to solve that.
Right. And how, when you're doing the planning, how do you prepare for market disruptions? Because I can imagine like for 2020, with the COVID, somebody had probably put up a plan of 2019 to 2023. And then you're having a COVID year. Then you're having 2021, you're recovering from COVID. So are there gaps in the plan, strategic plan or business plan to which you can accommodate disruptions in the market?
Very true. That is very, very important question. Actually, there are 2 kinds of people. To answer that question well, we have business people, but we have got entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are much of risk takers, but they do research. Actually, when you are doing your business plan, or the one thing that you have to do is to do research. I love technology and even the coming of AI because you can search and also be futuristic. Like be prophetic. Let me talk the Christian way. You can be prophetic in a way, but using data. Right now, like even something like ChatGPT can tell you, like when we pick an industry, for example, telecommunication. ChatGPT is able to tell you how the industry will look like in the next 5 to 10 years, even with the digital. So when you are doing the strategic plan, the business plan, and all these matters, it is good to have data-driven research because it can never lie in a way. If you look at most of the companies, like look even at Safaricom, you will realize that in every industry there are top players. So if you study these top blue chip companies, even the American, like Google, Facebook, like Meta, when you talk about Meta, actually like right now in Facebook, Facebook looks at what you post and then they are able to send you such kind of, just look at that. They can study your mind and be able to do that. So in business, the research is going to help us. Then the risk, when you are writing, like usually I say the strategic plan and business plan are live documents. They are not dead documents. They are not cast on a stone.
You can adjust.
So you adjust and change. Like for example, let's say when you are starting the year, you say like usually one of the big questions is the turnover. Like how much sales are you supposed to make during that year? So let's say we have done, like you are selling clothes and you say I want to do a turnover of 3.5 million. Then by the time you reach March, you've already achieved the turnover. So you not sit there and just leave it. You will update it and then realize what have I done to be able to achieve the milestone even faster, more than what I thought. On the other word, you could have reached 7 months. Like currently we are just going to October, 2 months to go. And maybe you are looking at your business, you have not achieved. So that is now where you analyze. Like, if I've not been able to achieve the goal I'd set from the beginning of the year, what can I really be able to do? So it is not cast. And you leave room for challenges. And like in business, there's what we call calamities. Like in law, there's something they call something major. The hand of God. There's a way they use a term. I can't even pronounce it. Like something like an earthquake, like even like COVID. It is not you. It was just something that touched all the world.
True.
So you must leave room for any eventualities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the other pillar is on compliance, and this is perhaps comes to, following the rules and just trying to ensure that you don't find yourself on the wrong side of the law as well in terms of what you're doing. I can see here you've said it's following the rules to stay safe and to be trusted. Staying safe, I mean, what is that in the business world?
Okay. So basically, when we talk about compliance, I'll tie it with legitimacy in a way. So number one, doing legitimacy, you've already registered the business. You've already acquired KRA PIN. But remember, after acquiring those, there's what comes, like now there's what we call statutory filings. So when we talk about compliance here, we just want you to stay safe from all the legalities that are required. So remember, there's the registration for the legality or for the compliance. Like now, a business is required to have a KRA PIN, or an individual is required to have a KRA PIN. But you are also required to do the filings. Like for example, if it is a limited company, when you get a KRA PIN, like there are different forms of taxes, from the turnover, the annual and all that. So when you talk about compliance, just ensure that you are not fighting, or if like for example, something like VAT, you are required 9th of every month to file your VAT. They're like the people who charge and file and submit. When you talk about BRS, there's what we call BRS, annual returns for a limited company, which these things, people always confuse the filing for BRS and the filing for KRA. They are totally different. Like for the BRS, when you register a limited company, every year, like let's say today you register a company, 1st of October. By the time the 1st of October next year is coming, you are supposed to give the status report on how the business, like the one thing they check if the activity of the business has changed, then secondly is the directorship. Has there been any adjustment? So you give a report on that. If you do it on time, the government charges 1,000. If you don't do it on a time, like even if it passes by a day, they will add 500 shillings. So let's say like you registered a business in 2010, but you've never done any filing. Today, like there's a document called CR12. Today, if you were to open bank account, the bank will tell you they want a CR12. CR12 is the document that shows the status of the members and the status of that business from ownership and all that. If you have not been filing, the current system will block you out. You will not get it. You will have to file all those returns and pay them upfront. So here we are just saying, all the statutory matters, just do them. And another thing I want to say is that you can't be good in everything. The reason why I can talk confidence about these things is because, number one, I'm passionate about them. And I build my business in line with that. But if you are not good into something, just look for a consultant. Just like the way when we are sick, we go to the doctor. So if you are not good, look professionals. If you need an accountant, if you need a strategist, just bring them in. Even if you are paying money, but you are going to operate with understanding. And
within the law.
Yes.
Right. That's interesting, because I think this is where the biggest problem is. You see even the biggest of companies, I don't want to mention the company, but there's one, it's a big brand and a big company which, deals in millions and billions of shillings, and they were taxed a lot of money by KRA.
Very true.
And you're sitting there and you're wondering, how have you managed to go through all the years without somebody actually pinpointing out? So it's quite an important aspect of a business. And
just to add something on that thing of compliance, actually by just being compliant gives you an access even to better deals. Did you know by just having tax usually like in the tender documents, they will ask you for a tax compliance certificate. So their compliance, if you put in place, number one, they will increase your access to better opportunities. Actually, research shows that, like Safaricom, for example, one thing that has made Safaricom even to be on the top, even when it comes to the international scale, they are very strict with their compliance matters. Even like when you are opening, like even a line, the kind of documents you are required to submit. So compliance separates. Then again, it gives you the peace of mind. You don't want to fight. Or you build a business, then you reach a point, then the government comes in, and you are locked. You don't want that to happen. Thank you.
Okay, we have technology and digital, which is also an aspect of scaling a business, and especially in an era where literally everything is digital. You know, anything you say to somebody, they have to go online, look it up, or do something, and it's a quite a fast-changing space. You've got the machine learning, you've got robotics companies, you've got AI companies. I mean, as a business, how do you keep up with the emerging technologies and how much they're changing every single day?
Okay. So number thing, when we talk about technology, I love technology. I think I love anything tech. And one of the things I do is to just do research, be it on individual, something that can improve efficiency. So just as we started, I said, and just you mentioned something very important about the website. One of the ways, simple way of just applying technology is just to make your business online, and just by building a simple website. And some of these things are one-time payment that changes your life. So number one, be open for change to learn new technological things that are happening, and then ask yourself, how can I use this to better my business? So I'll talk about two things like in technology. Even the structure we are talking about and the processes can be utilized and be made easier using technology. For example, there's a software called CRM. CRM is a software that you can use for even prospecting and even for managing clients. Like once you get the client, you will feed their data, the telephone number, into their system. And by that, once you feed that data, it is able even to send to the client's email. So number one, have a website. Work with people to set for you business. Then the second thing is like in terms of payment. If there's one thing that technology has done, is to ease the payments. Like M-Pesa has revolutionized. And the unique thing, these things, M-Pesa is originated from our own country, Kenya. So if you can just, then also the coming of the AI, like in your business, just make sure. Nowadays are the days when you will insist you have to pay on cash. Like working with money, cash sometimes a challenge. It's very, very rare. So just make your business to be easier for people to make payment. I understand. The second thing about technology, make it easier for people to share information about your business. So once you build your website, how can you also do with the social media, where now you interact with the customers, then the payment option, then also use AI. Because one thing that AI has done is what AI does is to collect all the information in the web, then give it to you. But people, again, who don't know how to use AI, because AI will give you input, output. There's somebody who said that there's a term they use, like when you are printing a document, for example, like this. They say garbage in, garbage out. Garbage out.
Right. Yeah.
The same is with AI. So AI will answer you according to how you feel the input. Like there's a subject right now, that there's one subject that is being taught in the computer lessons. It's called prompt engineering. Because can I shock you? That summary you are doing, that has been done by AI. Everything you see in that document. But it is how do you feed even the design. No designer sat down to design that thing. It is AI that designed it.
Interesting, So that means as a business, that's a very huge lesson for any business.
Yes.
That you can go, whatever you feed and whatever you prompt this, machine learning or this AI to, it's going to feed you back, and you can use that to speak to your clients, to speak to your customers. And I know we've gone through all the pillars, but I just wanted us to get a few clarifications on some two aspects. That may be a big challenge to businesses. The question on when
there's something we have not touched. There's one pillar we have not touched, which is very, very important, and that pillar is branding. So branding. Being visible and being trusted. And this basically just means the image you project about your business. So here we talk about the logo and how you do your marketing materials from the company profile. So usually they say, there's what we call the first impression. Like I just have a poster here. This is like a project you're currently working on, something big that could also benefit people. But now when you look at this thing, from the logo to the brand, you need to know what that thing is happening. Like their companies, when you see their logo, you can totally say the color and the logo. So make your business, like when you are doing even your website, intermarry the theme in your website with the color, the brand, and the images.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now I wanted us to talk on loans and investments, because I think this is also a huge part of scaling a business. The question on loans, when is, should I go for a loan or should I not for my business? I want to go to this next step. I may not have the capital enough to, add perhaps more branches of this business or to add more team members to this business. With the loan option, does it play a crucial role in terms of scaling a business? And how do you make that decision of, let me scale this business via loans?
Okay. Usually the loan is not the problem. There are two ways of getting money to do your business. Actually, that one we talk about when it comes to investments. Like there are two types of income. There's active income and passive income.
Yeah.
So active income is the money you have to be there to make. Like for example, if you are employed and you have to show up the salary at the end of it, you are in a business, but you have to show there. But there's what we call passive income. Money you don't have to be there to run. But now when you come to the investment, like the loan side, there's something we call OPM. OPM simply means other people's money. Now what the rich people have mastered is on how to use other people's money to make more money. So they get money from other people, but they invest, and then they also buy time. So they know how to buy capital and time. So a rich person or somebody who is strategic will go to the bank. I'll give a very simple, for example, in real estate, for example. If you have done research well and like you want to put an apartment, which are supposed to be for accommodations or something. So let's say you need 50 million. So somebody will go to the bank, of course the bank will use the collateral like for the property as a security. But you've done your research well, like if I can go to the bank and get 50 million, I could even spend 40 million to put the apartment up. But like now, because I know of such kind of amount of money, the bank would require you to pay between 300 to 400,000 per month. But like from the rentals that you are going to collect per month is above what the bank is asking.
Yeah.
So you use other people. So in business, if you can use the money, but you have done well research, because sometimes we have not done research. So we actually, most of the time we get the money, but we have not even planned. So first, loans are not, actually, even Elon Musk, to quote this, the other day, there's a time he was having an interview, and he was telling people, with me, I don't have money. You see? Most of the businesses he's running, they are using other people's money and the equity. So it is the strategy that you employ. Then one thing usually about the loan is not bad. Loan is only bad if you take the loan and you will still use the money from your pocket to pay the loan. Like for example, if I can go to the bank and take 500,000, but the project I'm doing can be able to give me even 700,000. So it means I'll not be using money from my pocket. Yeah. So the challenge comes if the money comes now like from, let's say you are doing a business, but also you are like employed where the salary, where the money you used to do a project cannot be able to generate more cash flow to be able to pay it back there.
All right. Okay, Bernard, I can see we're out of time, so essentially we should be wrapping it up.
Okay.
Now, there are people who perhaps their businesses is from business, operate business to business, others operate business to, direct to consumers. Is there any difference in terms of how they'll approach scaling their businesses, putting in mind that one, you're dealing with an individual, a direct consumer, and the other one, perhaps you're dealing with a certain business? Is there a difference in how they're going, these two?
To scale.
Yeah. These two businesses are going to scale?
I can say that much of the thing that matters is the foundation. Actually, from the things we have talked about, scaling, like one thing that we can do as a takeaway from today, scaling is about starting with a strong foundation plus digital advantage. So it means if I have got the foundation right, like this building could go as high as much as the foundation can be able to hold. Yeah. So the 7 pillars we have mentioned is applying, like life is all about principle, of business is all about principle. So they apply across the businesses. But now when it comes to the application, it can be customized based on your industry, based on the target market, and then based on the target audience. But the pillars can apply to a mama mboga. Yeah. Like a good example I can give. For mama mboga, you not need to register a limited company. You can just do a business name.
Yeah.
For somebody who wants like to do tendering and all that, you need a limited company. So these things can be applied and then scaled depending on your level. The thing is just understanding. Like in strategic plan, we usually talk about 3 things. Where are you? Where do you want to go? And how do you go there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Bernard Ocheng, who's a business development executive, for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. And I hope that there's somebody who has been thinking about going to that next level and they've gotten the roadmap on how they're going to get to that next level. We'd love to hear your feedback as well across our feedback lines as we continue this conversation. It doesn't have to end here. If you need help, you can always talk to us. We'll get you through to Bernard so that they can help you just take that business to the next level. Remember, this is a country that literally runs by medium, small, and macro businesses, MSMEs, and cooperatives. And so you should be part of that figure that contributes back to the country's economy. That means it's on a huge, huge, huge demand, and your business could just be the next to fall in that category. So thank you for watching this morning. I hope you're up to date and up to speed with the information that we have channeled out this morning. Thank you for watching. My name is Cynthia Nanjala, wishing you a blessed morning ahead.